Hello, dear friends. What a blessing to be with you today. Here we are for another study of the book Green Light by the Spirit Andrea Luiz through the mediumship of Francisco Cândido Xavier. What a blessing to be with you today. And today's is probably one of the longest chapters of this book that Andrea Luiz titled Unfortunate Habits. We're going to always put it in here for folks who should watch this later or come in while we are already live. Unfortunate habits. Has 3 pages. Most of the chapters only has 1 page and a little bit. So as I read these, I'm going to stop to make some comments about a few of the items. So the goal is for you and I to reflect and see, am I today in the place I am on the earth, the spiritual development level that I've acquired so far, still doing some of the things he's going to list, continuing with the habits that Andrea Luiz, calls unfortunate. And if the answer is no, great. If the answer is yes, at least some of them, if we identify with those things, the invitation is for us to start noticing when we incur in those habits, on those actions, and then try and change them so that we decreate the habit, or we deconstruct the habit and we replace it with a better one. Isn't that good? It's a great way for looking at these chapters. Remember, we are always here reading these teachings and reflecting on them so we can apply them to our daily lives. So that one day we can truly say that the earth is a world of regeneration, and then happy worlds, and then divine worlds. But currently, we're still in trials and expiations under a planetary transition. Therefore, we might still find ourselves doing some of those things. And the invitation is stop, reflect, and then do something better. So, Unfortunate Habits by Andrea Luiz. He says, Unfortunate Habits, chapter 33. Just 1 second, let me sure there's no music. To use pornography or swear words, even if they're fashionable. To frequently push or poke those who are talking to us. To make unpleasant comments about other people's situations. To spread rumors and hold negative conversations. To shout when speaking. To laugh uncontrollably. To use unkind frankness under the pretext of being truthful. I'm going to highlight some of them for our discussion. To dig up the past of others, so to harm or hurt them, or harming or hurting them. To disseminate pessimism and discredit amongst peoples and communities. To avoid cleanliness. To complain about everyone and everything as a matter of habit. To ignore the rights and conveniences of others. To point out intentionally the imperfections and defects of others. To allow yourself to become irritated over things that are unimportant. To ask about situations and relationships the significance of which we cannot realize. to disrespect people by asking unnecessary questions, tell jokes that may hurt the sentiments of those listening, to mock or criticize maliciously behind people's backs, to discuss in detail the sexual problems of others, no matter who they are, to show off your knowledge at unsuitable moments only for the pleasure of exhibiting your culture and competence, to show disrespect for appointments and undertakings, to live without method, to constantly to be constantly agitated, thus hindering those about you and making it difficult to carry out your own responsibilities, to talk big about yourself under the excuse of being better, to spend more money than you have, to expect honors and privileges, to refuse to suffer, to expect the best from life without working for it, to not know how to put up with offenses or criticism, to not try to control oneself and becoming angry at the least little thing, to discredit public services or institutions, to avoid studying, to postpone for tomorrow the duty that can be done today, to be dramatic regarding to sickness and unhappiness that upsets you, to argue without logical reasoning, to despise adversaries and place friends upon pedestals, to demand from others things which we ourselves are unable to do, to ask for support without offering any cooperation, to condemn all of those who do not think as we do, to accept tasks and then leave others to shoulder them. Wow, that's all I can say for now. So we have many, many things we can talk about, and I want to invite you. I'm actually numbering them right now live with you so we know how many he talked about. 10 so far. 22. 37 unfortunate habits. Any of these resonate with you? Did you find yourself being like, oh no, I do those things? I found some myself that I unfortunately do. We're all growing, we're all improving, and the awareness that we need to improve is the first step. Then we have to know how to do better, and then we apply these teachings here and move on and grow. So if Andrea Luiz is listing 37, I say 37 unfortunate habits for us, so he's labeling them unfortunate or unhappy. Therefore, by deduction, we need to think about if I'm doing these, I need to stop doing them. It's that simple to say, right? Much harder for us to actually implement a change because it's not, we have to see ourselves as multidimensional with our free will to do things, with agency to sow today a better tomorrow, but also think about how can I shield myself from being in those situations where I fall into these unfortunate habits because I am swimming with the tide. So if I constantly around people in circumstances where people are using swear words, pushing and poking, touching people, violating their private personal space, making unpleasant comments, spreading rumors, shouting, because those behaviors are as contagious as a disease. There's emotional contagion. So if you're close to someone who's sad, you become sad and anguished. But if people around you are doing those things, over time, you're going to find yourself doing them as well. Because your brain is equipped with mirror neurons. You see people doing things, we normalize swear words, pornography, pushing, touching people, unpleasant comments, rumors, then we end up doing them as well. So we want to be aware of it, make a little journal. Just as in question 919 of the Spirit's book, St. Augustine recommended daily reflection. So we daily reflect. Did I say the things that I needed to say the right way with kindness and understanding? Did I incur in any errors that I can go and make amends with? How can I be better? Can I put my head on my pillow and sleep with a tranquil conscience, right? So it's an exercise and it's cumulative, and we have to think about, I start today and I do it again and I try it again. I may fail and I try. I want to bring to us one thing that is happening a lot today in this um, environment of social media or of anonymity, of being able to aggressively comment about people, spread rumors. Those are things people are doing on a daily basis because it's much easier to say that at a distance on a comment than it is to actually say those things to people. But a lot of people are using unkind. He said number 7 is to use unkind frankness under the pretext of being truthful. Because sometimes we think we hold the truth and then we are blunt, we are sharp. And then he's saying unkind frankness because there's a way to say things that are truthful kindly. There's a way to dispel rumors. There's a way to bring data that is kind and compassionate, respecting people where they are. I was very surprised that he talks about to avoid cleanliness because I am a clean freak. I love things to be clean and organized. But it makes sense because when he describes on his books they plan the way they plan their excursions to the earth, the respect they have for the environment where they are, the fact that he describes Non Solar as a place that all of the folks work towards caring for the public buildings and the gardens. And in the book Messengers, he describes a place where they go to be prepared, that only certain people enter because it's all about their thoughts. If they're not ready, they don't resonate with the place, and we protect them. And cleanliness is very important. We don't have superior spirits that are dirty and unclean. So we have to think about that on our lives as well, because we want to care for the body, we want to care for the physical things we have, because we are incarnated on the earth, we're using the resources, and we want those resources to last. To complain about everyone and everything is a matter of habit. A lot of people do. They only see the glass half full. We look at the people and we see what they're not doing instead of focus and rewarding what they're doing and helping them grow. To point the imperfections of others. Easily done nowadays when people are losing their ability to control themselves. When we are anxious, there is fear of missing out. There is this despair of thinking that there's only this life, and the angriness and the interaction with the spiritual realm as well. Now, to disrespect people by asking unnecessary questions. How many times we probe? We meet someone, it may be none of our business, and we start asking, what about this? What about that? What about your life? Where do you work? And there's no need to know those things for us to interact with them. They may be able to share with us, but then we ask unnecessary questions. Therefore, he says to disrespect people by asking those questions. So next time when you meet someone, remember, It's 2 ears and one mouth. So we need to listen and be open to them sharing instead of us asking and probing. To tell jokes that may hurt the sentiments of those who listening. Just because I find something funny, you find something funny, that doesn't mean everyone will. And we have to grow above and grow beyond our own selves to the new us in the future, and not make fun of folks because they're different from us, because they may have a disability, because they look different, they sound different, they do things differently. So we need to be because we're disrespecting people. To mock or criticize behind people's backs. A lot of us will smile to people again because it's much easier, and then we turn around and we make a comment to our family member, to a colleague. Did you see that person? I can't believe they said that, but we never had the ability to address that person directly. To show disrespect for appointments and undertakings. This is an important thing. When we say we're going to meet with people, think about the last time someone was late or didn't show up at all when they said they're going to help you. When we commit to do something at our schools, at our work, our spiritual center, and then now we don't. We let people down. So when we are disrespecting appointments and undertakings, we are incurring those unfortunate habits by Andrea Luiz, as described by Andrea Luiz. He says here, 26, to not try to control oneself, becoming angry at the least thing. We have a lot of folks nowadays who get angry at anything. And then you see these viral videos of people have tantrums like 3-year-olds, right? Adults, fully fledged bodies of in adulthood, and then they are acting like they are having a meltdown in the supermarket aisle. And he says, to not try to control oneself, becoming angry is an unfortunate habit. And last but not least, I'm not able to spend all the time looking at each and every item. However, if you'd like me to come back another day and address the ones that I hadn't, write down in the comments, write to us, and then we will come back with another program and I will address the ones that I didn't mark here. And last but not least, I want to bring two things that are related. This is to avoid study and to expect the best from life without working for it. How many of us want things to get better? We want to do more, but we're not willing to put the work on it. We actually want the idea of things that will be different, but we have to study. We have to work for the things that we have. And making those sacrifices and evaluating ourselves, how many of those habits we're incurring today, how many can be cut off right away. Even if today we don't perfectly avoid those 37 items that Andrea Luiz mentioned, we can start noticing them, and then we can be like, oh yeah, I did do this. Yes, I used a bad word here. Yes, I comment about that person to my boss. Then next time, before you do it, you'll be more able to stop ourselves from doing those things. I want to say you, I'm including myself as well, and all of the incarnate and discarnate beings on the earth who are still imperfect, working for our improvement each and every day. And that's what we do here every Thursday morning, both at Kardec Radio and the Spirit Society of Richmond. We're here to share this news, these teachings from the spirits. In this case, Andrea Luiz in the book Green Light. Dear friends, I hope this inspires you. I hope these teachings help you. Between now and the next time we meet, God willing, I'll be back with you next week. Between now and then, stay well, stay safe, take care of someone else and yourself, and I'll see you next